Hi, Andrew Bell here with you for the last report for the first half of 2012. This week we're having a snapshot look at the state of Queensland, but first, two big pieces of news since I last spoke with you was the further drop by 0.25% in interest rates, and more importantly, the latest economic figures showing our economy surged by 1.3% in the first 3 months of 2012, giving us 4.3% GDP growth. Impressive figures by any measure and placing amongst one of the most successful economies in the world. Thank heavens for the mining industry, but let's embrace whatever benefits and successes we can. Whilst it's been an incredibly fast 6 months, it's also been action-packed. There's been so much going on all of the time that it's really hard to digest it all. Certainly here in Queensland, shrinking stock of properties for sale, falling interest rates and changes in local and state governments have all paved the way for the course ahead. This fortnight we're having a closer look at the whole of Queensland as a state. The Queensland economy has for many decades been very dependent on agriculture such as sugarcane and a wide array of tropical fruits. It's also been dependent on tourism, largely because of our spectacular weather and amazing natural beauty such as the rainforests and the Great Barrier Reef and so on. Pleasingly, over the past 10 years, broader and additional drivers of our economy have clicked into gear, and in particular mining. However, the Queensland economy was hit hard by the global downturn and last year's natural disasters in the form of cyclones and floods. As a result, the Queensland economy grew by just 0.2% in 2010-11, and that is the lowest since 1982-83. Queensland is very much leveraged to the Asian story, both in terms of our mining and of course our tourism. Queensland recovery will accelerate due to the coal and gas boom, whilst tourism is benefiting from the Australian dollar coming off its recent highs and some of the concerted efforts that have been put in to reignite this industry. Queensland Treasury forecast for GDP in 2011 and 12 is now 4.25% and 5% in the next year. Now that's a big improvement. Now Queensland's flood reconstruction bill will be anywhere between $11 billion and $15 billion, and this is providing a major economic boost. And we're actually racing to deliver the reconstruction work before another $146 billion worth of mining projects come online in 2014 and 15. It's amazing just the strong competition between the state and local governments and mining companies for raw materials and skilled and non-skilled workers. Private investment is to jump by 27% in 2011-12, mainly from the $50 billion liquid natural gas industry. There is no question that the liquid natural gas industry is set to change the face of the Queensland economy. It's just amazing. The Queensland Resources Council predicts about 40,000 workers are needed for around 66 projects over the next decade. Queensland's seasonally adjusted unemployment rate is at 5.7%. We were well above the national level, but we are now much closer to the national level of 5.1%. Population growth last year was 76,000, which was the lowest in decades, and I will explain the reason behind that. You would have seen from my earlier reports just how significant population growth is to property prices. On that point, you will see on the screen now a graph showing how real estate affordability is intrinsically connected to Queensland's net migration. The yellow bar graph on the left shows real estate affordability being very good, and the red bar shows when affordability deteriorated, and that peaked in 2008. The blue line shows migration, and you can see when housing affordability was very good on the left-hand side, how migration soared. As affordability declined, our migration declined. As much as we love high prices, it actually doesn't sustain the key driver of high prices, and that is migration. The next graph on the screen shows likewise how job growth is also linked to migration. We understand retirees moving to the Gold Coast aren't interested in jobs, but our younger and middle-aged groups certainly are. Again, the blue bar is showing job growth and creation, and the red line is showing migration. We had lots of employment during 2004-7, where we saw migration tick up, but our unemployment grew during the global financial crisis, and this married into the decline in population growth. This is why the accelerating new jobs in mining will indeed turn to a higher level of migration, stronger housing demand, and eventually price and rental growth. Well, there is so much more I could talk about in Queensland, but I'm conscious that I don't like to keep you more than 5 minutes or so. Obviously, with the change of government, there are high expectations, but you can't implement new policies and have overnight turnaround. The greater benefit of all is now how we have a government with a mandate, and there is a new optimism amongst Queenslanders. We know how optimism and confidence are important to the psyche of the consumer. Pleasingly, one of the major focuses of the new government is to reignite our tourism industry, and with the Australian dollar falling back below $1 parity with the US just recently, this will assist, as I mentioned earlier on. So the key factors for Queensland moving forward is our mining, tourism and construction, all of which are on the improve. As I mentioned in my annual report, Queensland's growth will surprise on the upside moving forward. Well, it's always a key day for me on the 21st of June, which is the shortest day of the year. From that day forward, from my way of thinking, we're moving back towards summer when Queensland, and particularly the Gold Coast, is at its very best. Best wishes for now, and thanks for your time today.